Welcome to Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973. And now here's your host of this podcast, me, Shane Lakita. Okay, guys, good morning. Good morning to all of you on this Tuesday morning. It is a fine day. As I look out my window right now, I'm seeing yellow leaves and orange leaves and all kinds of different foliage out my window. So when you live in New England, as many of you know, it is pretty amazing during this time of year for foliage, for the way everything looks, the way it just comes together in the fall time. It's one of my most favorite times of year. That way we can really celebrate in the peeping times that we have there. And that's what we call it up here. We call it leaf peeping. So as you travel throughout the state of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, those kind of places, you'll see that your foliage is just incredible. It's overwhelming for those that have not been here or have never really experienced the true sense of foliage. Maybe a little bit here and there in some parts of the country, but there's nothing like a New England time frame where the leaves are falling and the temperature's dropping just enough that it's comfortable and it's cool out and it's beautiful. So welcome back to the podcast here, guys. So it has been a little bit of a time for me. It's been over a week and a half since my last podcast that I was able to share with you guys. And I've had a lot go on in that week and a half that I wanted to share, just a little bit of insight, a little bit of storyline with you of things that have gone on. So about a week and a half ago, I'd say probably 9 days ago, my wife and I signed up to go down to the Smutty Nose half marathon / 5K and went down there with a bunch of friends from the community of No Finish Line Nation. Now, No Finish Line Nation, if you don't know, is a closed Facebook group that we have, that we use Facebook to be able to create a safe environment for people to go to talk about their struggles, talk about their strengths, talk about all that stuff. And everybody gets together and they lift each other up and they support each other. And it's pretty amazing the amount of support that you can gain from it once you're in the zone, once you're there, and once you're in the mix of everything. It's pretty amazing when you feel that amount of love. So my wife was originally going to run a full marathon here in Maine during the time frame that they were all getting together. There was about 8 to 10 of them that were all going to get together from all over the country, from everywhere from Michigan to Texas, everywhere. We're all getting together to be able to run this race together, spend the weekend together with other people that are of like minds, that can support each other, that love each other, and lift each other up. So it's pretty amazing that the community of No Finish Line Nation created an environment that invited people to be able to just connect with each other. And that's really the concept of what we did when we put the community together, was to be able to get people together to connect, to lift each other up, to help each other out during the struggle and during the times that they may not really feel like they are achieving or accomplishing great things or those kind of things. And other people are there to lift them up and hold them accountable. So all these people were going to meet up in New Hampshire. And in New Hampshire, there is a place called Smutty Nose Fest that's there. That's like 10,000 people show up. It's a huge festival of where it's at. So after my wife couldn't make her full marathon because of just different reasons that were going on, we decided we're going to go down and go run the Smutty Nose. And I personally had not run anything in forever. And so a 5K for me was a pretty big deal. And my wife was going to do a half marathon with all of her friends that she talks to online. So went down there, had a really, really good weekend. Had Saturday, we did lunch with everybody. We had a big lunch together. And then on Sunday, we actually did the race and then spent a little bit of time together then. And then we split and came back home and did our things. So the point that I wanted to make to you is that during that time frame, you left that whole entire weekend feeling just with an overwhelming amount of gratitude, overwhelming amount of support, of love and adoration, and just the amount that everybody was pulling together to be able to lift each other up to go do great things, like Rock Hill Rick going ahead and crossing that finish line, being one of the fastest times out there for the half marathon of the whole entire group, or people pushing through, and Danielle coming across the finish line where she'd been working her way up all this whole entire time with all these runs and lost such a large amount of weight. And it's just amazing some of the stories that they heard. I think that they said they did yoga on Sunday morning, which we did not do, but they did yoga on the top of a mountain in New Hampshire on Sunday morning, and then they added everybody's weight together, or maybe it was Saturday morning. They added all their weight together that they've lost, and I think they lost over 750 pounds. That's just incredible, right? All these people got together that are on the same journey, same exact catapult, same exact direction that they're trying to move in, and such a large amount of weight lost overall, and a new life was found by a lot of these folks, and they love each other, and it was amazing. And if you ever get a chance, first of all, hop over to No Finish Line Nation. All you got to do is go onto Facebook, type into the search box up top, No Finish Line Nation. It'll take you right to the closed group. You got to answer a couple questions to be able to get in. And then once you get approved, you're in the group and you're good to go. And then you can just be there to see. You could be a lurker, somebody that sits back and just watches everybody. You could be an involved person to post videos, blogs, whatever else that you want to be able to post. You're able to do so and then feel supported and loved the whole entire time and build your tribe. So the point that I really wanted to make around all this was I walked out of there going, these people are part of my tribe. These people are part of people that support me, love me, and lift me up wherever I go and whatever I'm doing. So it's pretty amazing. Check it out if you get a chance. Build your community and go from there, okay? So that's not actually what the podcast is about this morning. I posted this morning on Instagram and on No Finish Line Nation a blog entry that I'm going to talk a little bit about living today like it's your last. Okay, so let's get this podcast started. We'll get moving and we'll get your days kicked off on the right foot, okay? Okay, guys, so I don't know if anything else that you would listen to would make you groove and move much like that little intro or middle section music does, but it does it for me, and I needed something that I can get to move and groove and get ready to go out on this Tuesday morning. I posted this morning that, when you wake up in the morning and you're ready to take on the day and you're ready to do the different things that you want to do, whether it's to go out and work out or whether it's to hit the job running, to go travel, to do whatever it is that your normal day would consist of. Tuesdays are always tough anyway, right? So Mondays, they always say you have the blues after coming off the weekend. Tuesdays, that there's a long time to get to the next weekend, all those like long periods of times, and it becomes mental. And this morning when I woke up, I was feeling a little bit kind of down in the dumps. I actually had a pretty good night's sleep, but I was feeling kind of down in the dumps. And I was thinking to myself, I just don't really feel like anything. It just not is really doing it for me. And it's interesting because as I get up in the morning and I try to be able to give myself some sort of direction and focus of what I need to do to be able to make things happen or do different things that need to happen, I came across an image that was online. And on the image itself, it was very basic, and I've seen it many times before. But today, for some reason, it really stood out to me, and I wanted to share it with all you guys here on the podcast, okay? So the image itself, and I posted this on Instagram, Facebook, all the other different platforms. If you have not followed me on any of the other platforms that I have outside of the podcast, you can follow me at Liquidshano 1973, okay? So basically, on the image itself, it says, "You will never have this day again, so make it count." Now, this is something I used to always lean in on whenever I was talking about the different blogs that I was writing or the different things that we were trying to do as we try to lose weight, as we try to be the best versions of ourselves or whatever. I always tried to bring into play that today could be the last Tuesday that you'll ever experience. This could be the last October 15th, 2019, and it actually is the last one you'll ever experience. So treat it like that and live in the space that you will have no regrets of what you're trying to be able to accomplish. A lot of times when we're in this journey, you all know, every one of you know, just like I know, If I sit down and I say I have dreams and aspirations of things that I want to accomplish, one, if I'm afraid to accomplish them and I'm afraid to put one foot in front of the other and make those things happen, that's one thing that may hold me back, right? It's the pain and the suffering that you go through of failure, of when we try to be able to put ourselves out there to accomplish really cool things and accomplish the great things that we want to accomplish in life. We get fearful. We get fearful of falling. We get fearful of, falling down and scraping our knee or skinning our knee or whatever. The pain that comes with failure sometimes can be so overwhelming in our brains that we then convince ourselves not to do the things that we want to accomplish. And a lot of times, and remember, I'm speaking more so for myself, but I know there's so many other people that feel the same exact way that I do. That's one of the things that we try to stay away from. We want to try to stay away from those types of things, because if we sell ourselves short and we don't try to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish, then what is life really worth living? If you're not trying to be able to go out and accomplish the things that you want to do, whether they're goals, aspirations, whether they're bucket list items, whether they're just being the best parent that you could be, whatever your goal might be, whatever you have set in your mind of what a successful time frame is going to look like or a successful venture is going to look like, then you should be going for that. And you shouldn't sell yourself short or be afraid of failure, because let me ask you this. Of all the other times that you might have failed in life, yes, it might have stung a little. Yeah, you might have had a little bit of pain. Yeah, you might have had a little bit of stuff to come around that didn't really feel all that great to you. But did it kill you? You're still living and breathing. You're still listening to this podcast. You're still going out and trying to be able to do other things that you're trying to do. So at the end of the day, although a lot of us are fearful of failure, we don't like the feeling, it makes us uncomfortable of failure. But as many times before on this podcast, and many times if you've listened to anybody else, maybe a motivational speaker or different people talk about, a lot of times we learn from those failures. We learn from the grind. We learn from the pain and suffering that we go through to be able to get to where we want to get to be able to build ourselves up for when we really want to be able to move forward with the next venture that we have. We learn from the mistakes that we make. We learn from all that stuff. But the key to it is that you're never going to learn from anything, and you're never going to experience any of that if you just don't put one foot in front of the other and give the effort and try. The image says you'll never have this day again. And that, how true is that? We're never going to have another October 15th, 2019 at this time of the morning. We're never going to have that again. So if you're living life in fear, or you're living life with apprehension, or you're living life with not taking risks and goals in going for your goals, then what are you really accomplishing? Are you just status quo? That's okay too. Now, mind you, when I say to live life to the fullest, I mean live life how you feel needs to be lived to the fullest, not what everybody else feels, not this whole laundry list of items that other people have of living a full life. So you don't need to be the gallivanting, walking around, traveling around the world, hiking on tops of mountains, being a photographer of crazy black bears and grizzly bear, what all these different adventures that we see people go on, that we look at on television or movies or those kind of things, is not the version of what you are. You are the version of yourself. You set the tone of what your goals are. And if you want to go for certain things, then go for certain things. And even if they're goals around the fact that you just want to be a little bit more active, or you just want to be a better parent for your child that's struggling in school, or you just want to be able to pay your mortgage and be able to be financially set that you're not worrying about bills to bills to bills, right? So all these different things that we have, that's the version of you. That's your body of work. That's your framework that you're working with. Nobody else's. So if you take the mantra of living life to the fullest and you'll never have this day again, that will give you the opportunity to live it and think to yourself, if I don't experience something today, if I don't take the chance or the risk to do something different than what I've always done, if I don't push forward with, even if I've been in the failure mode of the fact that I'm trying to lose weight or those kind of things, and I've gained 25 pounds and I'm at this place where I'm not really feeling all that great today, then today is the day that just start to be able to take your life back. Go back and be able to live life to the fullest starting today. when I opened it up with, I told you guys that I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I wasn't really feeling all that great. I got these long meetings coming up that I got to go out of town for. I'm going to miss my family. I got all this different stuff. I got to pack up bags. I got to do all this jazz that I got to get down there to be able to do. And I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling up to it. I was feeling kind of down in the dumps. I was like, oh man, this stinks, right? And then I got to think about my eating plan wherever we go, because we're going to go to these restaurants. We're going to go to different places. What am I going to eat? How am I going to make sure that I stay on track? All these different things. And I wasn't feeling it. And then when I saw that image of you'll never have this day again, so make it count, I thought to myself, why live in the space of, man, woe is me. Man, I'm not really looking forward to this. Why not live in the space of, hey, you know what? Even if I am going down there today, on this day, on this Tuesday, I'm going to make positive impacts in my life. I'm going to make somebody else's day better. I'm going to lift somebody else up when they need it. I'm going to give somebody a high five or a hug when they need it also. I'm going to do whatever it takes to be able to make sure that today is the best day of all the days. And I'm going to continue to push forward with trying to accomplish small goals today so that way I can celebrate. Part of the blog post that I put on there was not only to live life to the fullest today to make positive impacts, but also if you've got a grand goal, and I've talked about this a lot of times before, but I feel like it's really resonating with me today. If you've got this huge goal that you're trying to shoot for, this big pie in the sky that you're trying to be able to accomplish, and you're looking at that pie in the sky, and it looks enormous, and it's huge, and it's giant, and it's so unattainable sometimes when you feel like crap on certain days, and you're looking at that pie in the sky, you think to yourself, I can never accomplish that. I can never run that full marathon. I can never do those kind of things because I've never really gotten to the place that I wanted to. I can never bench that 350 pounds. I can never do those things because society and myself have told myself that I can't. Or things get in the way and I can't accomplish the things that I want to accomplish, right? I mean, we've all told ourselves that. We've all lived in that space. We've all convinced ourselves not to do certain things because, like I said earlier, we're fearful of failure, or it's just what we come to expect. And we settle for mediocrity based on the fact of that's what we want to celebrate in. Okay, so there's the pie in the sky, your big thing, your big goal that you're trying to shoot for. And if you continue to look at that pie in the sky and that's what you're shooting for every single day, I can almost guarantee you and promise you that you're going to fail. You're not going to hit that goal. You're not going to go for that big, huge pie in the sky for a few reasons. One of them is it's too big. It's too monumental. It's too overwhelming. It feels like we can never get there. If you have 200 pounds that you have to lose and you look at yourself, I've got to lose 200 pounds, and you say to yourself, those 200 pounds is what I have to lose, and you're looking at that monumental amount and you have a hard enough time just losing 5, how are you going to get to that 200? Okay. Or if you've got let's say you want to take a trip around the United States of America. Okay. You know what it's going to cost you. You know the finances that it's going to take. You know how much money it's going to take with hotels or gas or whatever else that you want to do. And you want to travel throughout the whole entire country. And you want to be able to do this, but you know internally that when you look at the grand scheme of everything, the amount of money that it's going to take, the time that it's going to take time off of work or in your retirement or whatever else is going to be monumental. And that could be huge, a huge daunting task, even though it's something you wanted to accomplish all your life. Right? So it becomes overwhelming. And then you think to yourself, I don't have the money for that. I don't have the time for that. I want to do it. I want to accomplish these things. I want to be the best version of myself. I want to be able to just experience this before my time is up. I want to go out there and do all this stuff. But at the end of the day, you start to convince yourself that it's not really worth it because it costs too much money, or I don't have the funds to do so. So the reason I'm painting the picture of all these grand things that we're shooting for, if you look at that pie in the sky and you're shooting for the big picture, the big goal that you're trying to shoot for, it's just too much. And what you have to do is you then have to, which I also listed in the blog, is you have to take a look at, I'm not just shooting for that big, huge, grand pie in the sky. I now have to shoot for smaller, incremental, bite-sized, achievable goals. Okay? So you'll never have this day again, so make it count. So start achieving smaller goals that one day might lead to the big one, right? So right now it seems unattainable or unachievable because it's so big, it's so large. But if you start to whittle that thing away, It's almost like taking a little whittling carving knife on a big piece of wood. If you ever seen a person go through wood carving, my great uncle used to do this. He used to live out in Arizona, and he used to take like huge blocks of wood, and then he would whittle it all the way down. And he would make these beautiful, amazing little designs, and they would come out so gorgeous from a piece of a chunk of a huge piece of wood into a little quail or a little bird, and he would burn the feather marks in there, and he would make it look just so beautiful. But when you looked at the overall piece of it, when he first started, that thing was huge. It was just a huge log. But as he whittled away, piece by piece, patience was the key. That's what he used to tell me all the time. I'm like, how do you envision something like that and be able to move through with it? You know what he used to tell me? He said, if you have the patience to do this, and you could sit back and know that it's not going to get done overnight. It's not going to get done in 2 days. It's a long process to be able to do this. But each piece of work that I'm trying to be able to put in play, I go for those small obtainable goals. So he whittles a little bit away. He might chop a little bit away with an axe or whatever to try to get it down to whatever size that's there. And then the shape starts to form after a few weeks. And then the feathers start to get put into play after a few more weeks. And then months later, it's coming together where he's putting little burn marks in for the feathers to really add some quality and some texture and some stuff like that. So the point is that he started off with a huge monumental thing with the fact that the log was just this gross looking huge piece of wood, and he whittled it down into something beautiful and masterful and wonderful. And it looks like it's an actual bird. He used to specialize in birds, roadrunners, quails, those kind of things. So he used to put the work into those things, and he used to always inspire me. And it's the same exact concept with what we're talking about here. If your pie in the sky goal is too big to accomplish, then what you need to do is take that pie in the sky goal, break that down into small bite-sized chunks. So for instance, if it is 200 pounds you have to lose, so break it down. Within 2 weeks, I want to lose 7 pounds. Now, what sounds more appetizing to you? 200 pounds that I have to lose, or 7 pounds that I have to accomplish? The mental side of it is we need to be able to get to a place where our brains can feel like we can accomplish something. So if I break it down to the 7 versus the 200, now I've got something I can accomplish and something I can really fight for, something I can really dig into and do what I need to do to make it happen. Okay? And then the second part of that is when you do accomplish the 7 pounds and you're breaking this thing down into smaller, bite-sized, achievable chunks, then when you accomplish them, how good does it feel when you accomplish them? I mean, stop in the moment and celebrate in yourself because you, one, took the time to break it down into smaller, bite-sized chunks. You live life to the fullest on that day, on that week, and the smaller incremental amount. You did everything you needed to do to be successful. Celebrate in that. High-five yourself and live in the moment. And then move into, what's my next week's goal? Do I want to lose another 5 next week? Do I want to be realistic and know that it might go down a little bit because water weight at first and those kind of things, so I only want to lose 4 next week? Whatever it is, you could see what I'm saying here. Live today like it's your last. Continue to shoot for your goals, your aspirations, your hopes, your desires, all that stuff. It's not something that you can't talk about. We have so many conversations in life where you have conversations with your kids or you have conversations with family members, and we talk about why do you sell yourself short and why can't you accomplish the things that you want to accomplish? Why is it that we always tell ourselves that we can't do something? What's the reason? I already talked about a couple of them. Maybe it's fear of failure. Maybe it's the fact that we want to set expectations low, all those things. But today's got to be the day that you got to look at yourself and say, if I want to be great and do the things that I want to do and live life to the fullest, then today is the day that's got to start. Not tomorrow, not the next day, not I should have done it earlier. It's today. Today's your day. So when you look at the image that I posted and you think about the words that are on there, you'll never have this day again, so make it count. Just think about those words as you're attacking your day today. If you're listening to this podcast in the morning and you're getting yourself ready and you're shaving or you're showering or you're putting on makeup or whatever you're doing, I want you to think to yourself, how is today going to be a great day? Even if you know that today might have obstacles that come your way. Life might get in the way. Maybe your job gets in the way. Maybe it's a boss that you don't like, or maybe it's a coworker that you don't like, or maybe you know that the package didn't come at the time that it needed to come when it was supposed to be sent to you, or whatever it is that's thrown at you throughout your day that might set you off on a negative foot. Just remember, you're never going to have this day again, so make it count. So if you're stressed out about something, or you're upset about something, or something does happen in life that it deals you bad cards or starts to deal you stress in your life, just say those words over and over again. You'll never have this day again, so make it count. As a matter of fact, I might even write it down on a piece of paper. You will never have this day again, so make it count. Put it on your fridge, put it on your vanity, put it on your mirror in the bathroom. Put it wherever you can see it and it's visible to you. So that way it reminds you that every single decision that you make throughout the day matters. Every single choice that you make matters. If you choose that you're not going to be successful, or you choose that you're going to have a negative day, because we do have a choice in those matters. We can definitely depict how our day is going to go. I notice myself doing this all the time. And for me, when I know that I'm going to respond poorly, let's say my son gets a bad grade, or he's not really studying the way he should be, and I know how I handle it is going to matter moving forward. And I can yell and I can scream and I can do all kinds of stuff and put my fist down and say, "What are you doing? You should be doing blah blah blah," and all this stuff, instead of supporting and being able to say, "What's the root cause and how can we fix it? What can we do together?" And those kind of things. There's a different version of those two people. But I choose which path I take on how I'm going to respond to that. You choose what path you're going to take in your life. If you know that there's a big meeting coming up, or you know that there's some staffing issues coming up at work or whatever, how are you going to approach it? Are you going to approach it in a positive light, or are you going to approach it in a negative light? Are you automatically going to look at it from a deficiency lens, which is lacking in empathy, lacking in positivity, lacking in all that stuff? Or are you going to look at it in a dynamic lens, which is a lens that looks at it in a way that is positive and is in a place where we can do this and we can accomplish this, and no matter what's being thrown at us, we can do it together? So how are you going to approach it? So think about that before you go out and you venture today, okay? Think about how you are going to approach life, because no matter what is thrown at you, no matter what is tossed your way, and no matter how overwhelming that it feels, remember what I said in the beginning. Failures that we've had in our past have not killed us. It has not destroyed us. It has not beaten us down so bad that we can't look up and we can't move on. It's only a learning experience. So take those failures and learn from them and move forward. And again, use the words like I said. You will never have this day again, so make it count. You're never going to have another October 15th, 2019, or whatever day that you're listening to this podcast. You're never going to have one of these again. So live it to the fullest. Make it count. Invest in others. Invest in yourself. Do things that you feel that you need to do to make your day a good day. Choose to be a positive influence. Hit that crossroad moment and understand the decisions that you make and the comments that you make moving forward are only going to matter in the positive realm. Because if you start to be negative, it's going to take you down that spiraling hill, right? So be the positive influence. And again, I'm just going to end it with, you will never have this day again, so make it count. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973 podcast. You can also find us on all other social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook just by looking up Liquidshano 1973. If you get a chance, hop on over to iTunes, scroll all the way to the bottom, and leave some feedback about our podcast, because we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.